Sports 910.
Welcome back in. Take the points. Fox Sports 910, the only local sports gambling radio show in Arizona. Jackson Groff, Benjamin Garcia, we got you covered until 1 o'clock. Well, Ben, not a lot going on in sports, but probably one of the biggest stories in sports right now is what happened yesterday in New York. Jalen Brunson signs a 4-year, $156.5 million extension. $113 million less guaranteed than what he's eligible to receive next season. So you look at the contract breakdown and what the Knicks are saving every year. It's $37 million in the next 3 seasons, around $12 million per season that they'll save. Could they add an extra star with that money? Could they possibly release some players or trade somebody and add a superstar? But for Jalen Brunson, my biggest takeaway from this, it's the most team-friendly contract we've ever seen. It's the largest hometown discount we've ever seen. It's the most unselfish contract we've ever seen from a player. And he's going to be the most underpaid player in NBA history based on the production that we've seen from him in the NBA. I think it's great for the NBA. I think it's great that we're seeing a superstar that wants to win a championship. Because when you look at superstars in the past and look at stars in the past that have not won a championship and have taken that money, when you look at their legacy later down the line, we're not going to say, oh, well, Russell Westbrook, he made all that money. He's one of the best point guards ever. No, we're going to say Russell Westbrook was a great point guard, but he never won a championship. Chris Paul was one of the all-time best point guards, but he never won a championship because he would take more money in different franchises, and they couldn't grab those role players. So that's my biggest takeaway from this. I love it for the New York Knicks. But you've got some great opinions on this, too, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about Jalen Brunson.
It's the most historic contract that has nothing to do with how much money he was paid in terms of it's the largest contract. And it's something that people – you kind of said it, too, and I wholeheartedly disagree with this. One, I don't think it is great for the NBA because I think – it's good for the NBA. It's good for the NBA fan. It's really bad for the players. Players are always going to want to see each other taking more money than they should. There's going to be guys.
It's a good point. Set the market.
Well, there's going to be guys, i.e. a Kate Cunningham, who just got paid an absurd amount of money, an Evan Mobley who's going to get a max extension with the Cavs, or a Scotty Barnes who just got a massive extension, or Michael Porter Jr. got a max contract, DeAndre Ayton got a max contract. Those guys don't get that deal unless other superstar like Jalen Brunson gets these contracts as well and gets paid well above them. Ben Simmons is making like $40 million this year. Jalen Brunson is making significantly less than that. I forgot to see the contract breakdown, but I know it's significantly less than that. So Jalen Brunson starting this narrative is a trailblazing route that we have not seen outside of Tom Brady. We have just not seen it. We've seen guys take less money later on in their career when they're already set for life and then want to ring chase. Jalen Brunson has legitimately set a new standard in the NBA where other players are going to be seen upon as selfish now. And in their own locker room. Let's say Mikal Bridges, whose contract comes up in 2 years following this season. He is not going to take more than Jalen Brunson because he's going to say, I can't take. I mean, he's better than I am.
Yeah.
I can't take more money than him. You know what that's going to do to the locker room? Okay, I guess I'm taking less as well. And a guy being able to do that, it is the exact recipe you need to win a championship. And the New York Knicks were a dysfunctional organization before Jalen Brunson shows up. He shows up, instantly title contenders, instantly a team that is now seen as capable, and before him, they were lost. They didn't know how to do anything. So this is a historic contract that we have never seen before. And I disagree with you. I don't think we're going to continue to see this in the NBA. I don't think players are going to see this because I think mostly in the NBA, it is a selfish, AAU, all-about-me culture. Am I wrong here?
No, I agree. I think, to your point, saying that we're never going to see it again, I agree. For me, as a sports fan and as someone, you played sports, we've all played sports and stuff like that, I think it's great for the NBA seeing a player take less money for team success is what I mean. Seeing team success, and we're living in a league right now, especially in the Eastern Conference, where the Boston Celtics have their starting core five for the next 2 seasons at least. Kristaps is optional in year 3, but you've got Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum, Kristaps, Derek White, all for the next 2 to 3 years. So I think with the New York Knicks, they got to understand, you can't win with 2 guys and a bunch of veteran minimum guys against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference. It's just not going to work, especially with the amount of role players that they have, too, for the Boston Celtics. I think Brunson said, you know what? I can get money in brand deals. I can get money in endorsement deals in other ways. I want to win a title, and especially in a city like that, New York, 1, he's won the fan base, and 2, I think it's going to solidify them to go out and pay Mikal Bridges in 2 years. The biggest question mark I have, too, is what are they going to do with Julius Randle? Because Julius Randle and Mikal Bridges are in the same year, but to me it seems like Julius Randle could be a guy they could go out and trade for and accumulate more assets.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done that. The Jalen Brunson thing, it just continues to be fascinating because this is a guy, and because as myself, every NBA fan always says, well, I would just take less to go win a championship. It's like, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't take $100 million less in a career that has an average life expectancy of 3 years. And if you're a superstar player, it's 10 to 12 years. Imagine in your profession, imagine if what we could do, we can only do it for 10 years. We would be taking every last dollar we can. But it's interesting because in sports, you can either get paid. Some guys have this. You can either get paid or take less and cement your legacy. And if you're a star/superstar player like Jalen Brunson is, he chose, I'll get paid. I'm still going to make $156 million and have a chance to win a championship. I'll never be seen as selfish. I'll never be seen as taking too much. It's my problem with Dak Prescott. I have no issue with any player who wants to take every last dime. They've earned that. They've deserved that. However, if your team continues to fail in the postseason, I'm going to blame you. And Jalen Brunson has completely negated that. If they fail in the postseason, no one's going to look at Jalen Brunson as a failure. They're going to say, oh, well, what do you want him to do? He literally couldn't do any more. So
that's a good point.
That's my instant reaction to that. It's why we're gonna go after Scotty Barnes in a couple years or Cade Cunningham when if they aren't having playoff success, well, why are we paying them so much money to do that? So that's my belief.
Well, your point about Dak Prescott and what they're going to realize with the Cowboys is they're going to have to pay Micah Parsons. They're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott. You look at a guy that took less money, and granted, just like Jalen Brunson, it's still a crap ton of money. But for Patrick Mahomes, he took that less money. They were able to pay Travis Kelce. They were able to pay Chris Jones. And that's the establishment. That's the way to win championships in the NFL is having a great elite pass rusher, having a go-to pass catcher, and an elite quarterback. And if Dak Prescott doesn't realize that for the Cowboys, you're right, Ben. They're either going to have to pay him, and Micah Parsons or CeeDee Lamb are going to be gone. And for this case, for the New York Knicks, I think Jalen Brunson now having the Villanova ties, I think has something to do with it. Being able to have guys that he played with college that he wants to stick around longer. But Mikal Bridges being in the equation definitely played into fact for him taking less money because they need a Mikal Bridges to be there for long term.
It also is just kind of funny because men are such simple creatures. I can't speak to women.
Amen.
I'm not a woman, clearly.
Thank God.
Don't say that. Don't say that. That is off. I love my wife. Anyways, but moving on, she could be listening right now. She's going to come after me if that's the case. But either way, it's funny. Because men will literally take $113 million less just to hang out with their boys. That's how simple men are as creatures. So it's just more of a funny thing for Jalen Brunson, who just wants to stay in New York, make a cool $156 million, and hang out with his boys for the next 4 to 5 years.
That's a good point. Hang out with the boys, make less money, make wifey happy. Jalen Brunson's MVP odds are plus 1,600. The Knicks' odds to win the Eastern Conference are plus 450. And their odds to win the NBA championship have the 5th best odds at plus 900. So if you feel confident about the New York Knicks, go pick them.